Hey, well, I hope by now you've seen the performance, because I really stress you see the performance just so you get an idea of, how the trick is actually, how it actually looks, so that you'll understand as I'm describing this what's going on in the tutorial. So if you could just check out the performance first, please, and then if you haven't seen it, and then come back and we'll do this tutorial step by step through the performance. So, assuming you're back now, what we do first of all is you want to come across with some kind of pattern to introduce the effect that you're going to do an experiment between the relationship of numerology and soulmates. Now, the importance of using this pattern as the important term is soulmates, and I'll get into the reasoning why we're going to use soulmates as our intention to find their thought of card. Now, you're going to get the spectator to generate a card in their mind, and it's going to be completely random, and we're not going to use any kind of psychology or anything. They're going to know that it's a very fair random choice that they have. First of all, I would just ask them to choose a color that they would like to generate their card from, so a color that they resonate most with, either the red cards or the black cards. Now, whatever color they say, that is your cue to introduce the deck of cards, which you're going to have actually 2 decks on hand, and each deck is set. One deck is set for black cards, one deck is set for red cards. So you'll have those decks, of course, hidden in your pockets, and you're only going to pull out the one deck that you need for the trick based on the decision that the spectator makes whether they're going to use red cards or black cards to generate a thought of card. So the deck will be presented and shown in full view and displayed even before, like I said, before the spectator even thinks of a card. They've only mentioned a color now at this point. They haven't actually thought of a card yet. So now you pull out the deck. Let's just say they thought of a black card. So I'll just set the other ones aside. So they thought of a black card, the color black. We're presenting the deck, and we're going to now ask them to come up with a completely random value for their black card and a random black suit. Now, to do this, you're just going to hand them the calculator, and you're going to ask them to punch in random digits and multiply each digit in turn until they have an answer that is about between 7 up to 10 digits long. Okay, it can be at least 7 digits, but up to 10 digits is fine. So they punch in, let's say, 5 times 8 times 6 times 9 times 6 times 5 times 7 times 4 times 8 times 5. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 digit number, so that's fine. So let's say they stop there. The digits are, because I know you probably can't see that very well, but the digits are 7257600. Now, again, you don't see the digits. The spectator holds the calculator, and you ask them to just think of any one of those digits, and that will be their random value for their thought of card. Now, they can think of the 7, the 2, the 5, the other 7, or the 6. Now, the zeros you mentioned to them, don't choose the zeros because there's just no value for them. You want an actual value. So let's just say they choose a 7. Now, what they're going to do next is you're going to get them to also think of a suit to go with that value. And of course, being a black card, they have to think of either a club or a spade. So let's just say they choose clubs. Okay, so they're thinking of the 7 of clubs, and then you say, okay, now once you have your card in mind, we're going to deal down a random number to hopefully the soulmate of your thought of card. Now, to do this, we're simply going to deal down each digit in your random answer in turn until we arrive at the final card to reveal hopefully the soulmate to your thought of card. So to do this, they're going to deal each digit in turn, but they're going to skip the one digit that they've chosen as their thought of number. Okay, so they're going to skip one of the 7s. There's 2 7s here. They're going to deal at least one of the 7s, but they have to leave the other 7 because they've chosen 7 as their thought of number. Okay, so let's just deal down the numbers. Now they're thinking of the 7 of clubs, of course, so the first digit is 7, so let's just say they deal the 7 because there's another 7 they can skip. So they deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then they deal the second digit, which is 2, 1, 2, and then 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now they skip a 7, the last remaining 7, because they have to skip that number because that's the one they thought of course, and then they go on to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and now of course there's just zeros left, so they don't deal anymore. Now, you mentioned, believe it or not, the card you thought of, this card you arrived at, is the exact card, the exact soulmate to the card you're thinking of. And then you ask them to reveal their card for the first time. Now, this is where you're going to make a decision in how you're going to use your patter. They're going to say, okay, in this case they say they're thinking of the 7 of clubs. This is when, because you know that the cards from 9 to 27, all those cards are all spades, and from 28 to 48, all those cards are clubs. So you know the suit of this card. You didn't know the value, but you know the suit. But now the spectator has revealed their card, 7 of clubs, and mathematically how this deck is set up and how the mathematical principle works, this card will now be a black 7. And because you know the suit, you know that this card is actually a 7 of spades. So what you're going to say to the spectator before you reveal the card, because they've revealed the thought of card as the 7 of clubs, you're going to say, now remember I mentioned we're going to find the soulmate to your thought of card. And as you know, the soulmate to the 7 of clubs is the other opposite black card, the 7 of spades, correct? And of course they will agree with you, because soulmates in playing cards are known that they're just the same black card sharing or the same color card sharing the same value, just the opposite suit. So they will readily agree with you, and then you simply say, okay, now would that not be amazing if this card was indeed the 7 of spades? And then sure enough you flip it over and there you have it, and they'll be totally blown away. Now if they're thinking of the 7 now if they were thinking of the 7 of spades, and of course again you know you arrived at the 7 of spades, you say, now would that not be amazing if this was the exact soulmate to your card? And you can emphasize the word exact. If this was the exact card, and then you impress upon them that this is their thought of card, the 7 of spades, and then of course still they'll be so blown away to see that this is the very card they thought of. So either way it'll work no matter what suit they've chosen. So that's how it works, and I will go in now to show you how the setup is done. And as far as the mathematical principle and how it works, I'm just going to leave a link to Scam School's presentation by Brian Brushwood. He actually interviews James Grime, otherwise known as Singing Banana, on YouTube, and they reveal how this mathematical principle works in detail. So I'll leave a link right here to that video if you want to check that out now, and come back and I'll show you how this deck is set up. Now, how to set up the deck. What we do is you can use any, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 random cards. It can be any cards, it doesn't matter, because we're not going to see these cards. So 8 random cards, they're just filler cards. And then the 9th card is going to be, and you're going to choose whatever suit you want for the black deck to start. I chose spades to start for the upper portion of the deck, as long as you know what suit is at the upper portion. So I have the 9 of spades, the 8 of spades, a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just like that. And then I continue with one more 9 of spades, and that and then it continues to 8 of spades, 7 of spades, 6 of spades, 5 of spades, 4 of spades, 3 of spades, 2 of spades, ace of spades again. So we're down to that. And then one more 9 of spades. So you actually have 3 9 of spades. You start with a 9 of spades down to ace. You start again with another 9 of spades down to ace. And then you end the 27th card with a third 9 of spades. Okay, so that's all your spades. And then next you start the clubs with an 8. So it's 8 of clubs, this will be the 28th card. and then the 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ace, and then start again with another 9 of clubs, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ace, and then a third 9 of clubs, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then you end with the 6. And that will bring you to 48 cards. And the reason why you're stopping at 48 cards is because you're going to need 4 random, preferably displaying all the different suits, 4 random cards at the bottom that you're going to flash to the spectator after they've thought of a card, because you want to impress upon the spectator that you have a deck with mixed suits and mixed values. So what I mean is, you're going to have the cards ready at the bottom so that after they've thought of a card, you can just turn the deck casually over and just flash to them the 4 bottom cards and just say, now you could have picked any value, any suit, but you've thought of this particular card, and then just set the deck down and leave it as is. That just sort of sets up the idea that the cards are all different. Now, another thing too, you want to make sure that the 4 cards that you have at the bottom do not contain any of the black ace through 9 cards, because you don't want to have a card that they thought of already sitting amongst the 4 cards that you display. Okay, so very important not to have that. Okay, so once you've done that, that's the setup for the black cards. Now, the red deck is set up exactly the same way. You have your 1, 2, 3, 4, or your 8 cards, your 8 random cards at the top, and then I think that was 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. And then of course the 9th card, you start in the red deck, you could start with the 9 of hearts, the 8 of hearts, 7 of hearts, 6 of hearts, and so on, and then repeating the hearts again, and then down to doing all the diamonds at the bottom portion of the deck down to the 48th card, with the ending with the 6 of diamonds or 6 of hearts, depending on whatever suit, of course, you've chosen to put in that order. So that's the setup. I hope that makes sense. And mathematically, that's just how it'll work. It's a 52 card deck, and to build this deck, you're going to actually need just 3 decks of cards to build this deck. So you're going to be using one extra deck to fill in those extra duplicates that you need, and to add your random cards at the top and bottom of the deck. So yes, it takes 3 decks to build your 2 gimmicked black setup and red setup. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it, and yeah, so that's how the trick is done, and I hope that was all clear enough, and thank you for watching.